On the scrolling leading up to this post, I saw an IDF sniper take out a child and then the child's parents, but only after the parents witnessed what happened to their child.
I literally witnessed this brand and all these other 10 snack size bars change from $2.50 to $3.16.
When I'm in hell with all the other Jews, all us murderous Jews who drink Christian blood and kill innocent Palestinians and control the world and go to war in Iraq.
It's that simple.
Why do you think he is working so hard not to get them released for so many months? What do you think the real reason is?
These files implicate billionaires.
We're involved in security for the Israeli president, Netanyahu. Did you meet the Israeli leader?
Why is there a 13th century severed arm on display in the state of Connecticut?
This was a weird way to paint Satan. Instead of a monster, Ludwig Stasiak gives us a smug jester with scavenger wings.
This whole COVID madness, this so-called pandemic, it was just a test balloon.
Welcome back to the Wizard's Fish. If you haven't already done so, head over to the backup channel, Wizard's Fish Bowl. There's a whole new video over there already waiting for you. We're going to jump into things right away, so viewer discretion is advised, and everything that you see in here is for entertainment purposes only. Let's get into it.
As if nobody's seen this coming. Race to develop starts in UK after...
Not surprised.
Does anybody really find that shocking? But let's kind of take a look into this a little bit further. And let's not forget this. Never forget that fear is one of the greatest ways to control a population, especially one that's been acting out lately about wanting certain files to be released. And there's been a lot of demonstrations going on, a lot of uprisings about a lot of different things. But if you look here, see, throughout history, philosophers have analyzed how leaders, institutions, and societies use fear to manipulate populations, suppress rebellion, and maintain authority. Because fear bypasses rational thought and triggers basic survival instincts. It is viewed by many as the most effective tool for social control. Shocker. Also, let's look at when this ship actually, when it set sail. Wow, isn't that surprising? April 1st. Now, I've told you guys this before, but let's go over this once again. We know what April 1st represents in society in America, but let's look at what it represents in the occult. Cult meaning of April 1st. In the occult and esoteric traditions, April 1st represents the Day of the Fool, symbolizing the triumph of intuition, the shedding of ego, and stepping boldly into the unknown. It acts as a spiritual reset point and honoring of cosmic chaos rather than a simple day of practical jokes. So very interesting it started on that day. Also, we're just going to forget about the video I made months ago about how there's an unprecedented discoveries of illegal biological laboratories operating in residential homes. And they're uncovered in California, Nevada, and they had all different types of vials that were just sitting out, and in refrigerators, regular refrigerators of Ebola, HIV, malaria, all different types of things.
That's alarming.
I'm not even going to say that last one, but I'm sure that old H was in there too. But if you look at what type of strain this is, it's the only one that can go human to human. Now, isn't that a quinky dink? People, now is more of a time to keep your eyes open more than ever.
On the scrolling leading up to this post, I saw an IDF sniper take out a child and then the child's parents, but only after the parents witnessed what happened to the
I've seen
child.
it too.
Then I watched a clip of a settler holding a smartphone while brutalizing a family in the West Bank. And then I saw Israelis bragging on live stream about murdering and raping children and about how we as Americans are stupid and that, etc. constantly, right? And then immediately following that, the Israel Times of New York wants to let me know that the fifth grader that carved this in during detention is the face of anti-Semitism in New York, and that they are really oppressed.
Watch this.
They're honking at us.
That's pretty damn high.
That's what it looks like from the top of the South Tower. Just a little drop.
Nice view.
And there's Nick hanging out. Not doing real well today.
So if you don't know, I believe this bridge is the South Tower of the bridge in Michigan that connects the Upper Peninsula and the Lower Peninsula. It is insane how high this is, and this is just rarely seen footage. Like, normal people don't get to see what it looks like to be at the top of a bridge like this. And this bridge, I think, is like 552 feet above the water. And you think like a football field is similar to 300 feet. That's almost 2 football fields above the water that this is, which is like 55-story, like a 55-story building above the water. That's pretty much the view you have here. And props to anyone that has not enough fear of heights to be able to do this, because I get on top of like a 5-story building and look down, I get a little queasy and uneasy. This person is like on a 55-story building climbing up to the top of a bridge like this. And that's the thing, is this bridge is almost 5 miles across. It's like one of the biggest suspension bridges in the world. 5 miles across is insane. Damn. What I couldn't believe is I saw where this bridge opened in 1957. I don't understand how in 1957 they were able to build something like this, just with the amount of steel that it takes and all the suspension and all the wires that goes. It blows my mind that they were able to create and build something this magnificent. And then this view from the top, I just thought it was so cool how you could see the water and how tall it actually looks from up there. So props to this man for getting this footage and climbing up there.
I literally witnessed this brand and all these other 10 snack size bars change from $2.50 to $3.16.
What if you grabbed it at a certain price and then you get to the register and the price has changed by then? Is that something that they can do?
Glitching, and I thought, what in the world? Because I had noticed that it was $2.50 when I come down this aisle. And next thing I know, it says $3.16, and I see this one glitching, and I see this one glitching. And I knew that it was $2.50, and now it is $3.16. I literally witnessed that. Walmart,
I'm assuming this is Canada. Seems like the right prices for Canada.
That's like thousands.
Damn.
That's crazy.
Why is there a 13th century severed arm on display in the state of Connecticut?
That's kind of weird.
Edmund Rich was the Archbishop of Canterbury in 1235, but he wasn't loved by his English king, so he resigned and went to France. He died there and was made a saint in 1246. His body was put on display, but then someone hacked off his arm. The Society of Fathers and Brothers took the arm with them when they left to England in 1903.
So weird.
Then in 1954, they brought it to America. And in 2002...
I don't know about you guys, but this is giving me like that Deuce Bigelow vibes where he's traveling around with the prosthetic leg, except this one's not prosthetic.
It came to Connecticut. It's now on display at the Chapel of Our Lady of the Assumption, part of the retreat on the tiny island of Enders, just off mainland Connecticut. And that's how a withered, bony, 800-year-old human limb came to end up on a small island in Connecticut.
Plane that Pete Hegseth almost exclusively uses, its tail number is 99-0404. On September 8th, the day that Mitch Snow says that he saw Erica Kirk and Cabot Phillips on Fort Huachuca, that plane goes from Joint Base Andrews out west and then ends up at Fort Huachuca. And it flew there under a call sign SAM 702. What SAM means is Special Air Mission. The only people who can approve or authorize or order a Special Air Mission flight are the president and the vice president.
Wow.
30 days after Charlie Kirk is murdered, there is a munitions production facility called AES, which is called Accurate Energetic Systems. It's in Eastern Tennessee. There's like virtually nothing else out there. And what they do is they build explosives and they deliver to, like excavators, and they also do contracts for the government. The Department of Defense had placed a $440,000 order just ahead of Charlie Kirk's death for a micro explosive from AES. Well, 2 weeks after Charlie Kirk is murdered, tons of people saw this where I'm like, oh, that was a weaponized lavalier microphone that blew up. And that's what Charlie Kirk, the thing went massively viral. 2 weeks after that, AES, this production facility that delivered the micro explosives to the DOD, satisfied the order. It explodes October 30th, which is 2 weeks after I released this video about an explosive, Charlie Kirk. The day that this thing blows up, tail number 99-0404, the plane almost exclusively used by the Department of War Secretary Pete Hegseth. That morning, that plane left Joint Base Andrews and went to Fort Huachuca. At the time that this thing was smoldering after it had just blown up, the plane that Pete Hegseth almost exclusively uses detours on its way to Joint Base Andrews to fly directly over the AES manufacturing facility that satisfied a $440,000 micro explosive order just ahead of Charlie Kirk's, which blew up 2 weeks after I said, hey, explosives, Charlie Kirk. And it flew over this part of Eastern Tennessee where there's nothing else but this thing.
What a coincidence.
Thing exploded. Every employee on the inside died. 23,000 pounds of explosives blew up. Everybody inside. Everybody in that facility died.
This was a weird way to paint Satan. Instead of a monster, Ludwig Stasiak gives us a smug jester with scavenger wings in his 1900 masterpiece. He sits on a throne of skulls that still wear the crowns and helmets of the elite, mocking the powerful men who traded their souls for vanity. While he tosses a single gold coin, he proves that earthly power is just a deadly joke. He isn't just a ruler, he's a collector of fools.
This whole COVID madness, this so-called pandemic, it was just a test balloon. A gigantic test balloon. Well, for what?
For entertainment purposes only?
To see how far they could go. To see what exactly they would have to do to get free individuals in a free and democratic society to consent to being forced into compliance. That's what they were trying to establish. That's what they were trying to figure out.
In the conspiracy
They
theories.
have figured it out. Trust me, they are much smarter now. The goal ultimately is to transform our free and democratic societies, into totalitarian societies. Their goal is to strip each and every one of us of our fundamental rights of freedom, democracy.
No, not our governments.
They want to get rid of all of this. This whole COVID thing had never anything to do with public health. It never had anything to do with breaking waves. It always had to do with breaking people in order to make us a part of a mindless, malleable mass, which they can totally control, and we will be completely dependent upon this globalitarian elite.
In the movie
I'm really
that she's talking about.
The people and all the peoples around the world. For God's sake, stop giving your democratically elected governments the benefit of the doubt. They are not deserving of that. They are not. Stop rationalizing whatever your government is doing. Stop rationalizing and come up with some good intentions. They have no good intentions. Never. As I said before, in the entire history of mankind, there has never been a political elite concerned about the well-being of regular people. And it isn't any different now. Why should it? Stop giving them the benefit of the doubt. Because I can tell you, you cannot comply your way out of a tyranny. It is impossible. Trying to do so, you will only feed a gigantic alligator in the hopes of being eaten last. But guess what? Your turn will come, and then you will be the one swallowed up. I also have to ask the people, end your silence. Speak up. For God's sake, stop complying. Start rebelling. They're out to get you if you do not resist.
That's kind of cool. I'm gonna have to try that.
So we, we'll have to prepare for the next one. That, I'd say is will get attention this time.
I hate their smirks. Drives me nuts. You guys ever see that video of Billy there taking a good old pie to the fetch? Super funny. Yeah.
Look, Mummy, there's snow plate up in the sky.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort.
It's disgusting.
Suffocation, no breathing. Don't give a fuck if I cut my arm beating.
I'm guessing those pilots have to be like Masons or paid extremely well because they know what they're doing. They either have to be in on it or bribed or threatened or something, in my opinion.
Cut my life into pieces. Embrace my last resort. Suffocation, no breathing. Don't give a fuck if I cut my arm bleeding. Do you even care if I die bleeding? Would it be wrong or it be right? If I took my life tonight, chances are that I might. Mutilation out of sight. And I'm contemplating suicide. I'm contemplating suicide. Cause I'm losing my sight, losing my mind. Wish somebody would tell me I'm fine. Losing my sight, losing my mind. Wish somebody would tell me I'm fine.
I'm pretty sure all those ripples are caused from frequencies. It makes sense. That's impressive. He like didn't even slow down. Definitely wouldn't want that dude chasing after you. There's like no getting away. It's like a real life Spider-Man.
And you want to know how it happens? Tupac Shakur, Eminem, Jay-Z, Beyonce, and all these guys put out music that pumps us up with each other, and then we go and do it. And you know who funds most of that? The Pentagon. And so now we're getting into masonry, because if you look at a Freemasonic pentagram, inside of the center is a pentagon. So from the workings of the altar of defilement is the Pentagon. Okay? So we live in districts. It's a concentration camp. Why do I say concentration camp? Because we are concentrated. We do not have freedom. Freemasons are the ones who are free from the concentration. So all the Freemasons I've ever known in my life, they do not watch TV, bro. They do not watch the Disney Channel. And most of them almost never spend any time on cell phones at all. They're given wealth. They're given a freedom in their money area. Okay. And so they don't. And so for us, we concentrate on our 9-to-5 jobs with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength, because if we don't, we're not going to have retirement. So we concentrate on our jobs, and then we get home, we're exhausted, so we concentrate on the television. We are in a concentration camp. It's their way of controlling the goyim. It's their way of controlling the cattle. Oh, well, we got to feed the cattle. Okay, well, let's use sorcery. Addictive chemicals in foods. McDonald's, Taco Bell, Subway. Tell people that it's good for them. Cheap foods that just doesn't do nothing, but we got to feed them. You know, I live in a cattle town, and I see people come through with their trucks full of bales of hay. That's what McDonald's is, guys. Trucks come in and fill those restaurants, dude, and we stay fed. This is how they feed the goyim. Yeah, we live in concentration camps. And
Makes
so to be a
sense.
Freemason, you are freed from the spell. You are freed from the spell. What is the spell? Patriotism is the spell. Concentration is the spell. You are freed from giving your life to the false gods. Baal, Odin, who do you think is the spirit that runs these movies? Like, what do you think was making these movies full of sin and sex and death and adultery and murder and horror and death? What do you guys think was coming up with these movies? If you try to sit down and write a movie, it is not easy to do. And they're pumping out movies like Batman with Heath Ledger's Joker. We're putting out these legendary movies that have changed the Matrix in people's hearts, minds, and lives. We now have characters we think about. We now talk a certain way because they talk a certain way. We now think the history was a certain way because the TV says it's a certain way. When these movies come out, these become the gods, guys. Okay? So who do you think is making these movies? It's the old gods. It's Baal. Baal, B-A-A-L. He was a god of convenience. Do you hear me? Convenience. What is convenience? Well, one of the things was, offer me a child and I'll make your life easier. Isn't that the same thing as when when someone deletes a baby in their belly, it's to make their life easier? Okay, well, maybe over the last 2,000 years, 3,000 years, we gave Baal and Odin and Thor and Moloch enough babies that we finally got the convenience we want. We finally got those electric Teslas, bro. We don't even have to pay for gas no more. We got gas stations, convenience stores, Home Depot, Lowe's, convenience stores that bring you all the things you would otherwise have to go get yourself. Convenience. We finally gave those gods enough sacrifice.
I really wish that clip continued. He was making some good points there.
You're inviting demons in by that music that you're listening to. It's not just a song. Music is spiritual. 2 Kings 3 says that when Elisha needed to hear from God, he asked for a musician. The Levites in the Old Testament also understood this. When they began to sing, the Lord would begin to attack. Almost anything that is commercially available is clearly made from people whose intentions are corrupted by evil and don't align with God's. It's a known fact that they're casting spells and praying over the music. If David's anointed worship could drive demons away from Saul, what do you think perverted secular music is inviting into your life? The Bible makes it clear, music carries spiritual power. David's music, filled with the presence of God, brought peace and deliverance. But what happens when you constantly fill your ears with music that glorifies sex, drugs, and the devil? Not all music is bad, but not all music is beneficial. From a vibrational frequency perspective, from a sound perspective, from a lyrical perspective, you shouldn't be consuming that stuff. Every beat and every lyric is actually going deep into your subconscious, shaping your thoughts and your beliefs without you even realizing it. Listen, music, what you watch, what you eat, who you hang out with. It's all feeding. Romans 10:17 says, faith comes by hearing. Your ear is a window to your soul. So is your eye. You feed into your ears. You feed into your eyes. You feed into your mouth. So if you fast from certain foods because you know they're not good for you, why wouldn't you fast from certain music? Better yet, cut it out completely. Some of these artists should be on your prayer list, not your playlist. If David's worship could drive demons away, then secular music can absolutely invite them in.
Just have to come on here and say this real quick about the data centers. If you think that the government and big tech are building these billion-dollar facilities in the middle of nowhere to store your family photos or help you in any capacity, you're retarded. Okay? You're retarded. They're calling them data centers because calling them mass surveillance centers would probably send people into a spiral. They're literally building the infrastructure for a surveillance state, and they're doing it right in front of your face.
I'm not the only one thinking it, I guess.
Fully capable of monitoring your speech, your behavior, your purchases. It's going to essentially harvest your biometrics and create an entire digital profile for you.
For entertainment
People
only.
are trying to say that something like this would never happen. There's a 92% chance on Polymarket that something like this is prohibited. Utah just got approved for a massive data center blueprint. This data center in Utah is going to be 63 square miles. Do you guys know how massive that is? I'm talking almost 3 times the size of Manhattan and 200 times the size of the NSA's data center that already exists in Utah. Why does Utah need a 63 square mile data center? And by the way, it's going to be using up double the electricity that Utah uses currently. And honestly, why does the country need anything like that for that matter? So I'm asking you to just ask yourself if this is really for the betterment of society and storing family photos and for you, or is it for mass surveillance?
No need to ask, he's a smooth operator.
Man, he's just gliding like butter.
Pandas are not real. These cute little retards can't even maintain their balance or figure out how to mate without watching panda. There's no way these things came from the wild. You're telling me there are giant bears with digestive systems more aligned with eating meat, and they spend 16 hours a day eating bamboo and shitting to survive? The earliest record of a panda was in 1869 when a Jesuit missionary was shown the skin of one and claims he was given a live cub soon after that. If you know anything about the Jesuits, you know you shouldn't trust a word that they're saying. In 1929, the Roosevelt brothers became the first foreigners to shoot a panda. China started doing its first genetic experiments on animals in the 1920s. Is this a coincidence? The panda
Probably.
doesn't show up in any ancient texts or paintings, even though China allegedly existed for 5,000 years before that. They have paintings of yetis, but no pandas. And you're telling me there's a dragon on the Chinese zodiac, but not a panda? There are under 2,500 pandas in the entire world. Some people claim they're never photographed in the wild. There are videos of pandas that seem to be in the wild, but are they real? Female pandas are only fertile for 24 to 72 hours, once a year. There's
Wow.
no way these things wouldn't go extinct in the wild. In 1983, a Chinese farmer claims he accidentally snared a panda when trying to trap other animals. In order to hide the evidence, he chopped it up and stir-fried it. He said the meat was so disgusting it was inedible. And that's saying something, because the Chinese will really eat almost any meat and make it taste good. Maybe it's because there's some kind of abomination created
They do
in
make
a
good
lab.
food.
And did you know that China uses pandas as a diplomatic tool? They loan pandas out for millions of dollars, but only to countries they're on good terms with. If the country they've loaned it to does something that the Chinese government doesn't like, they revoke panda access. So what are they really? People in bear costumes, animatronics, or maybe a hybrid of other animals created in a lab, specifically bred to be adorable and stupid. Let me know your thoughts below.
The US government has given NASA $1.8 trillion, and it's like we all forgot about the fact that the biggest achievement ever was us going to the moon, landing on the moon. And NASA just like lost those tapes for a good minute. I feel like that's kind of important. I think it's also weird that they've told us that Earth revolves around the sun at 66,600 miles per hour, and that Earth's tilt is 66.6 degrees, and that the curvature of 1 square mile is 0.666 feet.
Coincidence.
Considering that the founders of NASA were all high-ranking Freemasons, either master's or 33rd degree, or ex-special friends to Germany. No one finds that weird. I think that weighs into the equation a bit. But this is my driver. I love space. I think space is so cool and so fun. I just have a hard time believing that they're telling us the truth when they're just so weird. I'm weird, but in a fun way. They're weird in like a
creepy
low-key
way,
satanic way. Only because they're all like really occultic. Look into the history of the founders. Like, why is Aleister Crowley a part of it? Just saying.
We're involved in security for the Israeli president, Netanyahu. Did you meet the Israeli leader?
I'm sorry, I'm not answering any questions so I can speak to an attorney.
You sent photos of your penis? Erect? You told the boy you ruined your shorts, meaning you ejaculated while you were talking to him. You asked for explicit pictures of him. You say the age of consent in Maryland is 16. This boy is 15. You knew this was illegal. And you had multiple chances to not commit this crime, but you did anyway. Which makes me wonder how many times you've gotten away with it before. Do you have CSAM on your phone?
I'm sorry, I'm not answering any questions so I can speak to an attorney.
You talk about being busy in training.
He seems real
The boy
cocky.
says his parents will be out of town at a work conference. How long was your drive over here today from your home in Maryland?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not answering any questions so I speak to an attorney.
You talked about taking him out after getting to know him.
He's
for
probably
cheese
connected.
steaks. And if it goes well, you say, you'll meet the monster at the end of the happy trail. Just tell me what you meant by that.
I'm sorry, I'm not answering any questions so I can speak to an attorney.
You feel pretty good about yourself today, huh?
Clearly.
Think you were outsmarting everyone? A month and a day you spent chatting with someone who told you they're 15. Not just a cop, but a lieutenant. You sent pictures of yourself in uniform. You sent pictures of yourself from your office at the Metro DC Police Department. Lounging on your couch, grooming a child. What should happen to you, Lieutenant?
I'm sorry, sir, I'm not answering any questions so I can speak to an attorney.
I guess you won't.
These were arrests on a massive scale. Amongst those taken into custody by the FBI were city mayors, politicians and religious leaders. The authorities needed buses to cope with the sheer scale of the operation.
New Jersey's corruption problem is one of the worst, if not the worst, in the nation. Corruption is not only pervasive, it has become ingrained in New Jersey's political culture.
It's thought that religious charities controlled by prominent rabbis were used to launder cash. The arrests were part of a 10-year operation that uncovered money laundering on an international scale, as well as corruption and the sale of human organs in the US, Switzerland and Israel.
And they're worried about a fifth grader scratching a little sign into a piece of glass.
The list of people we arrested sounds like it should be the roster for a meeting of community leaders. But sadly, they weren't meeting in a boardroom this morning. They were in the FBI booking room.
Prosecutors say one rabbi was dealing in human kidneys for transplant for a decade, buying them from vulnerable people at a huge profit. The scale of the corruption across New Jersey has outraged residents.
It just goes back to the belief that Hudson County is incredibly corrupt. And I thought we were making headway and becoming less corrupt.
The number of arrests was remarkable even for New Jersey, where more than 130 public officials have pleaded guilty or been convicted of corruption in the last 10 years.
When I'm in hell with all the other Jews, all us murderous Jews who drink Christian blood and kill innocent Palestinians and control the world and go to war in Iraq, Suleiman, my brother, out of just friendship and love, will you visit me in hell occasionally and just take away some of my solitude and my isolation and my loneliness? Yes or no? Will you just visit me?
The answer to that is very easy, Rabbi. Of course, I will not be visiting a person who supports in hell. No.
At least he knows where he's going.
Will I be supporting coming and visiting your sons in hell when they've been killing innocent Palestinians? But if there's any innocent Palestinians, maybe the Palestinian children that your son murdered, will he be willing? Does he see them in his dreams? Does he see them in his sleep? Or has he lost his humanity completely?
Did y'all see where the axle of a semi-truck dropped on this man while he was working on it? And for a split second, the security cameras captured this as his coworker come to help him. Now, apparently in the full video, there's only a split second, like one frame where you see this. The coworker who came and assisted and called 911 said that they were there the whole time. And he believes that they were angels saving this man's life.
I'd say so.
After an over 10,000 pound truck dropped on this man's noggin, he only suffered minor injuries and he was completely fine. Now you can clearly see the two light beings over top of these two men. The one on the left has less of a humanoid type shape. It's more of like a blob, but it is going over the man helping. While the one on the right looks a lot more like a person. You can see hands, you can see feet, legs, but both these light beings are over top both of these men. And it's actually astonishing that somebody can have 10,000 pounds dropped on top of them and be fine. Have you ever witnessed anything like this? Let me know.
Oh, God.
South Frontier 4345, we're stopping on the runway. We just hit somebody. We have an engine fire.
That's horrible.
You know the souls on board? We have 231 souls on board. There was an individual walking across the runway.
Why was he on the runway? Why wouldn't he move?
The aircraft, we're going to evacuate on the runway.
It's not like it's hard to miss a giant plane coming at you.
We almost died. That is crazy.
That's gross. Ew.
All we want right now is to feel safe, to have clarity.
Jake, I'm not going to expose the entire cruise line and the entire hantavirus situation just on this video because I want to give you the opportunity to come forward and tell people the truth. I looked into you, I looked into the investment firm that bought the company, I'll get into that in a second, and I figured out a lot of information behind this whole virus, and I don't think you're a bad guy. I think you are the sacrificial lamb that got roped into something and you didn't know this was going to occur. Now,
I can see it.
Very obvious you were reading from a script that was not your own words. Everybody has seen this. You have turned off the comments, which, by the way, buddy, this is not going to hide the truth, and it's not
That's suspicious.
over. Everybody knows your face was attached to this. Now, this whole cruise line situation had always stood out, and there's a trail that makes it very obvious what the truth is. First of all, you're an extreme micro influencer that was averaging 1,500 to 2,000 views a video. You do not get a $10,000 cruise line sponsorship. This is not how this works. Just the giveaway alone that you're doing with the cruise as a partner, the $250 prize is something that you don't even get at those views numbers. At best, you would be lucky to get a free t-shirt and 15% of any sales that you generate off of it. It's absolutely insane to get a free cruise and even do some giveaways with it on top. That doesn't happen this, so it was very obvious there was more going on. Now, for everybody else, the juicy details that you want to know. Oceanwide Expedition offers cruises to Antarctica, basically. The cruises range from $3,000 to $40,000. Now, Oceanwide Expeditions has not been doing the best, and a chunk of the company was recently purchased by Bolster Investment Partners. Now, what I find very funny and fascinating is this exact same investment company happens to be heavily invested in pharmaceuticals and pharmacy. Now, my question is, why would this investment company sponsor an influencer that's very minimal, and especially to this degree, and at the same time give him a script or allow him to post a video that completely destroys that brand's image? The cruise is now associated with a virus that is said to be extremely deadly. That doesn't happen. When you're sponsored by a company, you're not paid to just destroy the company's entire image. And at the very least, they're not going to allow you to keep that post up. It'll be taken down. So Jake, once again, I'm going to give you one chance to do the right thing and come public and tell people the truth of the situation. If that doesn't happen, then I'm going to release the rest of the information I have about this.
It's that simple.
Why do you think he is working so hard not to get them released for so many months? What do you think the real reason is?
These files
implicate billionaires and friends of his and political donors that he's trying to protect. And Epstein also had close ties to our own intelligence agencies and Israel's intelligence agencies. That's why there's so much effort in trying to stop this. And I do believe they'll try to stop it somewhere else. And that's going to backfire on them too.
All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up for today. Hopefully you made it to the end, and I'll catch you again in the next one. Peace.